Hi everybody, this is Madhvi here, and I'm going to be talking about something that is very dear to my heart. Uh, See, the thing is, I'm a writer. I'm sure many of you must be knowing that I write for fantasy, science fiction, and sometimes even horror. I know, I mean, I look so sweet, but I do write horror. Yes, that happens. So, anyway, the point is, when I write for, say, the fantasy genre, usually there's a whole lot of world building involved, especially, typically it's in space, it's on another planet, and or there's another world. So if there's a world, then there is a map of that world, which is very important. What's a good fantasy novel without a map? Seriously. Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, dude, a map is important because a map tells you where is what, and the map will show you, and the map so having the map maybe at the beginning of the story from a very writer point of view also
It's
helps in
12:30.
the brainstorming process. So I'm just going to show you a quick demo, so to speak, of my setup. And okay, I'm gonna now go to screen share and share my desktop, start screen share, and yeah, this is funny. I gotta minimize this. Now what I have is, as you can see, I'm on a Mac, and so I have parallels, right? And in parallels I'm running Windows, and this is right now currently Windows 10, and it is in what is known as the coherence mode. So I get the start menu thing right here, very cute. And the apps that I use, hang on, okay, sorry about that. The apps that I use, you can find them on this site. It's called profantasy.com. And what I have first I will demo is your Fractal Terrains, which uses fractal mathematics to create the world. Yes, and we have all sorts of features that we can customize over here, and then we import that world into campaign cartographer. And in campaign cartographer, what we do is we take that map and we do a lot more stuff with it, like we put mountains where the mountains are supposed to be. Now of course, campaign cartographer, you can also use it to draw to begin with, but fractal terrains is that much cooler because you can actually just have these really richly created worlds. Now okay, now I'm not going to talk too much or do too much PR here. I'm just going to get right down to it. Let's launch fractal terrains first. Now you can see here in the world settings, we can select something which I like to say fantasy world, apply. And what happens is there is the highest peak, the lowest depth, the circumference, and this is your random world seed. This is where the fractal math part comes in, and we can decide how rough it is going to be, how much percentage is going to be the sea. And let me adjust the land mass because I like you have a larger land mass like that. And here you can change the way the fractal function works. I just like this, don't ask me why. I'm not into fractal whatever. You can totally Wikipedia it if you're really interested. There's a lot of features which you can customize out here, and then you can keep flipping, go from world to world to your heart's content till you find something that you like. Okay, and okay, so maybe I like this, because I can keep doing this for a long time. But now this little whatever landmass is at one corner right here, so I'm going to use this globe right here to move it into focus a little bit, maybe, and a little bit more. There we go. Okay, this is nice. Now let's, and what's a world without rivers? Yes, because we need to find rivers first. Again, this is going to use all sorts of math based on the world heights and river depths and whatnot. It's going to calculate the rivers, and we need to ensure that this river image overlay thing is on, because see, you've got these automatic rivers here, and that overlay ensures that those rivers get exported into campaign cartographers. The next thing what we're going to do here is play around with the colors. Okay, why? Because those colors are what's going to also port over. And let's not do the blended shaded business. Apply. So see, this looks pretty nice. Yeah, it looks pretty good with all the contours and the rivers and everything, and the sea levels and all that pretty visible there. Of course, you can edit all these things over here. And now the fun part of having this app, having this done in the app here, is that you can also, because based on all of this, right, and the settings we've put in the world and the rainfall and this, that, and the other, this one automatically generates what is the climate. Okay, so now we see over here that in this world, see, we have most of this landmass will be in the tundra or the alpine area. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, maybe, but and of course we have the Alpine Forest here. So all of this, is going to be like massively, majorly cold. And it's only at the edges of this landmass here that we have slightly better temperature, maybe because we get the temperate forest there and the tropical forest here, right? And the yellow bits are your shrublands, right? So, and maybe here, see this part, this looks a lot more greener. So otherwise we have a lot of cold weather here. So now the story, now if we move this around a little bit more to include that landmass also in the picture, slight maybe another inch. Okay, so now you see, now in our story, obviously then, if this biggest landmass is where all the population is, and so now the climate part we know is cold mostly here all over except for the borders. So we know now, like how maybe they will dress, how they will travel, it will be cold, and maybe we can work, because the setting is also a very important and integral aspect of the story. And so since the biggest landmass is also the coldest, largest area of cold here, we work that, and we can work that into the story, and maybe we can create something like within the story now. And let's see what the temperature is. See, again, this kind of confirms it, because of the climate, naturally the temperature will affect the climate. You see here, this is like all blue and darker colors. So we have 2 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 19 Fahrenheit. This area is pretty cold. This must be getting very cold if you ask me, right? And of course, the rainfall. Now it's very strange though, the coloring scheme. You can actually go and change it here in the rainfall. Yeah, but I'm not going to mess with that right now because it's just too much work. The point is that the yellow bits is actually where there's some more decent rainfall, and the green bits where it doesn't get rainfall. You see this? Kind of less and less. Anyway, so we come back to the altitude chart here. So now we know all this, Now, had we just seen the altitude, we would have said, oh, okay, how nice. But now that we've seen the climate and everything, we know the deeper aspects. And this is the beauty of this app. So let me first save this file, newworld.ftw, and save it on the desktop. Okay, there you go, right? And now the next bit is exporting it as a campaign cartographer file. Use the full export. See why? Because it exports the altitude, temperature, rainfall, climate contours. All of it gets exported. All of this is editable, but I'm not going to do any of that. See over here, we get the contour bar, scale bar. So all the keys, you know, which color is how high or whatever, all this is gonna come and finish and export the world. New world.ftw, oh sorry, fcw for campaign cartographer, and save. Okay, there you go, you have it. And we close this and we close this, and then from here let's go to campaign cartographer. See, this is the world that I'm kind of working with, you know, and this is kind of the final outcome ish. If you want, I'm gonna activate, I'm gonna show all this to you in a little bit, but just so you get a fair idea, you know, this is kind of the as close to, you know, the final thing of what we're gonna see. Let's open this. Let's go to the desktop first and open new world. See, it zooms, okay, so we have to bring it back into perspective, and now we see all the layers at once. So we come here. These are your sheets, so all these different things, remember I said rivers, it will all come on sheets. Now if you guys have worked with Photoshop, you know what I'm talking about. We have layers, and every single thing more or less pops up on layers, and here you can either, you know, this side you come, you can either select which layer to work on, or you, and for this edge, make sure that it hides that layer. So we have okay, right? So all those grids and whatnot is gone, and this is your layer switch buttons. And let's go to altitude, and there you are. Remember I told you the colors, they would port over, and they have. So now we've got all these beautiful lines here, you know, beautiful contours here, and if we go over to the climate bit, we see this ports over, right? And this is very beautiful. Let's make some few very basic settings in our map. Go to the drawing properties and make sure we scale the default symbol scale to 10. Why? Because when we magnify it, it'll be handy like that. Save it. And of course there's this here, symbols choose their own sheet. Make sure to switch that off or uncheck that every single time you run this file, because once you save it, it's not going to take, it's only going to take for that session. So let me just close this because Windows. Right, okay, so now let's kind of maybe select an area to kind of work with. Let's do this. Okay, and now you know, now if I escape, this will go away. So this is your mountain, and as we see the contours keep going down, there's a little lake here. So let's select your, come on, okay, I understand, campaign cartographer mountains. Okay, you know, if we go, there are many different symbols here which we can play with. You have to buy them. Okay, there are symbol sets available like no tomorrow. Okay, but I'm just gonna go with the very standard symbol set, which is CC3, that comes with the app. So, you know, just saying, but you can buy a lot. There are a lot more different kinds of symbol sets available out in the, you know, the Pro Fantasy store here. And yes, this you know, see, if you see, it's pretty expensive. So my suggestion here is to go with these bundles, because it'll save you, really save you tons of money. I thought at one point of time that I'm not going to buy this, you know, or maybe I'll just buy this one thing and see, and then I ended up buying pretty much most of it. And it's sad but true, but I spent a lot more money than I was supposed to. And you have all these add-ons, because, you know, city designers and Cosmographer. In Cosmographer you can design star systems and spaceships. Come on, And you've got all these symbol sets, and the best fun part actually is not in just these apps, it's in the cartographers annuals, and this happens every year. And so we've got all these many so far. The point is they have all sorts of additional stuff like here we go, camp, where is it, annuals, right? You have your maps, you've got different styles, because essentially in campaign cartographer you can also draw your own worlds, but I'm just using fractal terrains because it saves me the trouble of actually drawing the whole world map. But you've got so many things happening here. You've got symbol sets, and your dungeons, and your starship. This is cosmographer totally, like like what we'll see here, what happened, all sorts of drawing styles and what have you. It's too much, really, honestly. It's just very super duper attractive. Okay, so beware. You've been warned. Okay, now another thing to remember with this is make sure that the symbols that go behind are the ones that are placed first. Why? Because you have your symbols that normally that get placed like this, so you see it's one behind the other. So if you come and put it here like this, it looks so weird, it looks not right. Okay, and then we can also do directions. For example, let's give this a 10-degree twist. No, maybe 15 degrees. There you go, slight more, maybe 20 degrees. Okay, see this is interesting. And but this is also again at 20 degrees. Let's make it 0 degrees. Becomes normal again. And so you can just play around with this a lot, as much as you like. And so we put your mountains, and then we come here and we select vegetation. Now see, remember, let's zoom out. You see how it looks, right? And we go to climate, and let's zoom back in here. Now we know which kind of vegetation is gonna pop up here, right? So we first go, oh yeah, I forgot. Did I do that? No, I didn't. So you see the symbols choose their own sheet. What happens? This goes on the symbols layer. See this? If I hide it, all the mountains are gone. There is a roundabout way to get your mountains on some layer, or like a layer called mountains or whatever, but okay. Now let me add a layer called forests, and we are on that layer now. We can see it over here, okay, and make sure it's again unchecked. Good. So let's go down to the pine forest. Now of course this is a FastCAD app, so there are macros. Again, if you go on to your Pro Fantasy site, the store, there is a thing called the Tome of Ultimate Mapping, right? And so if you've got many of the add-ons and the apps and what have you, the Tome of Ultimate Mapping can really get more in depth with the tips and tricks and whatever, and it's really helpful. I have it, and it'll teach you how to make those macros and run them. And using those macros, you can actually just select a shape or draw a shape and have it populated with the symbols of your choice, which makes it easy. Now also, one more thing to kind of bear in mind when you're doing this little playing with the map thing, is that just because it's a particular color doesn't mean that it's always going to be full of forests. Now, depending on the kind of world building that you are doing here, it may or may not be necessary to have all these forests here. So think about it very carefully, and it's good. It's a great exercise to be doing this, because it helps you kind of figure out your world in more detail, so to speak, and it's really very, very helpful for that. Just having to draw or fill up this map like with a tree here and a tree there and whatever. It's a great exercise that helps you clarify many aspects of your world for yourself. Okay. And another thing in this particular app, if you see, you've got different colors of trees here. It's because you can choose a color here, and let's say in your fantasy world it is populated by purple colored pine trees. So you can have these purple colored pine trees here, and you can place them on your map like so. And maybe that's a magical pine forest right there. Okay, and you can do stuff like that makes it more interesting. So let's say that's your magic pine forest right there. And we also have your cities and stuff, and again now we can go to a different okay, there is no layer called cities. Let's make one, cities. Okay, and let's change the color to something different, maybe, I don't know, red. Typical. Okay, so all the colored ones, or ones which can take on different colors, are right here. And you have your standard walled city, and your walled city can come near here somewhere, between the lake, like it's a port city maybe. So we can place that here, and you have a little more, by the river, not the port city. And you have this ruined city here by the magic forest, pine, purple thing, whatever, and little village here, just at the border. Hey, because we didn't put the deciduous trees, so let's go put some of those. And make sure you change your layer here. And we have those, so we know. Okay. There you go. Okay, for now this is good enough. And the thing is, we can also build roads. So there is this road tool, okay, which say we connect this city with this city, straight road there, and then we have this guy, and maybe through the forest this road comes to this little town, and from there we can basically follow. And I don't know which layer this one has gone on. Let me refresh it. Right, so it's gone probably on the roads layer. There is a roads layer, so maybe that. Sometimes it's kind of programmed. See, if I hide that roads layer, then those roads disappear. So yes, it's pre-programmed in that tool that roads will go on the roads layer. So now we have the road also go, like forest. So in your story, let's say someone from this village travels to this city and then to the main port city, right? And so first he has to go through this forest here, and maybe someone comes from the ruins here and across the mountains to this place, and then through the forest to this one and this one. So you see, that's your adventure. Maybe that's part of the story, and you can make it part of the story, and this lake has something to do with it, or I don't know. And let's say, you've got, what else? Boats, maybe. Boats. Do you have ghost? Okay, maybe boats will be here. There is. Hang on. Your boat, your ship, right? So this is the port, and you have your ship right there. But see, the ship is a bit too big, if you see what I mean, compared to the rest of the thing. So let's see. We can temporarily. There you go. That's better. Okay, and maybe have a little lighthouse there. If you see, this one will also be 7 automatically. It stays. Okay, so let's put this lighthouse here. And let's zoom out, and this is your. See, now in terms of the big map, this is very pretty tiny details, and of course we have your text layer. So let's go name it to capital city. If we make it multi-line, we can even put city below there. Properties, this will be pretty small. Make it 200. This and mid center. So there you go. Okay, and we can put it right there. Why this color, right? Okay, so now we can save this. Okay, the whole point of this exercise is then at the end of it, right, once you're done, you can do this exercise for the rest of the whole world here, and then you can do a save as, and you can select this rectangular section PNG, and here you see these options. Make sure you select something like this, and it gives you a lot of options here. And new world dash section, you say save, and so there you go. You can create your section, and it will convert it to PNG and save it on your desktop right here. Very high quality image. See this? Very good. Now what happens is you can then take this map that you have exported, print it out, okay, and tack it up on your how do you call it? Hang on. Stop screen sharing. Okay, here I am. Hi, I'm back. So you can take that map, you can print it out, and you see this? Can you see this? Oh, here I have a corkboard here, and I have one right in front of me. It's behind the computer, so you guys can't see. But the point is, you can put your map of the world there, so it's right there in front of your computer, and so every time, or you can even save the PNG in your computer if you're on the move and you're like on your laptop or whatever, and you can have that world map with you at all times when you're working, and then you can just consult it, you can look at it, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, and it's drawn to scale. So it really helps you to realize how far certain places may be and how long therefore it will be. Like for instance, if a place is say 10 miles away and they're going to walk at a speed of, I don't know, 2 miles a day, then it'll take them 5 days to reach from point A to point B. So that sort of thing, very simple stuff, but it helps because it's gonna make your story that much more realistic. And so yeah, even while you're building the worlds and you're working with the map there, you get to know your world. You get to know it more intimately, more intricately, and that helps in the complete building process. And brainstorming happens, and it's like awesome. Yes, this is expensive. Really, because if you're on a Mac, then you gotta invest in Parallels, you gotta invest in Windows, you gotta invest in the app Campaign, Cartographer, and Fractal Terrains, and it's expensive, believe me. And I've accumulated the apps and the add-ons over a period of time, one by one, as I saved up for it, every month, every couple of months. And the I've also subscribed to the campaign, Cartographer annuals and stuff. So it's pretty addictive, but it's totally worth it. Okay. Yes, there are people who are obviously 100 and 1,000 times better than I am at it. Okay, if you Google it and if you get onto these forums, you will find people who are so better, and you get like so tempted. But obviously writing is my full-time profession, not cartography, so I'm gonna stick with the simple stuff for now, and I like it. It's great. It's good enough for me because it helps me with my world building, and the completed map, so to speak, can actually go in my book.
It's 1 o'clock.
And that helps. That's good. So yeah, that's kind of my system. And yes, it took me a while to get all this in place, and it's expensive. I keep saying that, but it's true. It's expensive. It's super expensive. So uh, in case you also are interested in following a similar system, just be aware that it's expensive, but it's so worth it in the end, because you can have these astonishingly beautiful maps. And as you're making those maps, putting a tree here and a house there, and you can see it with your own eyes, and you can work with all these elements, and you can totally get to know your world so deeply, so intricately. It's not funny. And it helps. Many a times there have been aspects of my story which came to me once I was working with the map. Okay, so it's beautiful. So check it out. Okay, and I hope you guys have a good time working or playing with these apps if you have them, and give them a shot, and see how they work for you. Okay, and I hope that you enjoy your world building exercise with these two apps. And bye. Thank you for watching.